Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. I've got lots of good news today, and the first is, it's not raining. But the cattle still say conditions are just not optimal. What's going on, you guys? Hello, little ones. I've not talked about our fly load situation at all this year since setting up the strategies because, frankly, they've worked awesome. Awesome. So the first thing you do is you look on their back and sides for horn flies. And you can see there's a few there. There's really none on that guy. And I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, but there are flies on their faces. Face flies have really been the only thing I've seen, and I've only seen those in the last week or so. So we're going to take care of that. With these things, you know, I consider myself a pretty patient guy, but when it comes to all of the jibber jabber around fly control, I just get tired of it. So I haven't talked about it because I just get tired of it. We're going to hook these things around here. See, they're cut just right. Go right around there. Maybe we'll start in the middle. Of course, the cows want to come see what's going on. That guy got pooped on. Your nose got pooped on. There's 22 of these things to be hung on here, so I'll start in the middle and work my way inward. Oh my gosh. Patty's got to stand right in front of the camera. Yeah. There we go. Looks festive. Yeah, you got some face flies. But again, nothing on the back. It's face flies. Horn flies would be back there. The next step is recharging the back rubber. This is permethrin mixed with diesel fuel. A couple gallons will do it. Now I'm going to dip these strips in here just to make sure they're nice and wet. I should have brought out a smaller container. So of course what I see is that the back rub, which they use, they walk under, they stand under sometimes, has done a really good job of taking care of the flies on the back, which are horn flies, back and sides. But they're not getting it on their face to control the face flies. So these strips, when they walk through, it'll rub against their face, and then when the face flies land on it, it kills them. It's a targeted application. I debated for a long time, as you know, and I'll put up a link to the fly control video at the end for those who haven't seen it, the use of diesel fuel. And after going back and forth, I saw how good it works, and I said, well, I think that it's worth it. Everything's a trade-off, I think. Now all these belly-aching cattle need to do is make their way from here around under here the next time they get a drink of water, and they'll be protected. Chickens, you think I'm bringing you a treat, but I'm not. Well, they said we're going to go back under the wagon. This is what I really think helped a lot with our fly control right here. This manure is kind of like a pillow. We moved the manure pile from over near the cows, which we left exposed all summer, which was prime breeding ground for cows. And you really need to look at that fly video I did a couple months ago to learn about how the habits of flies are, how they breed, where they are, how they spread, all that stuff. But anyway, we covered it here so that the flies don't breed in the manure. But of course, everything has trade-offs, and the trade-off here is we're creating an anaerobic pile by not exposing it to oxygen. Let me uncover it. Here's what it looks like. We got some mushrooms. We got a little bit of mold. It's very wet from condensation mainly, I think, if you dig down in here. It dries out. Boy, it's warm. It's definitely cooking, even without the lack, or even with the lack of oxygen. It's definitely very warm. Ordinarily, oxygen is really important to a compost pile because oxygen consuming bacteria will just do the job much faster than anaerobic bacteria that actually consume CO2 instead of oxygen. It's just a slower process. It's still compost, but this is the solution, to cover it. And then we'll uncover it in the fall after we get a few freezes and the fly population is really cut down by the freezes, and let it start cooking again, although it's cooking now. Now, the last thing I want to say about fly control today is fly control is not fly elimination. So I'll put up some diagrams of what's considered among cattlemen to be acceptable fly levels, and we go from there. That's the first good news of the day, that the fly control is really not really an issue at all this year, and that's why I'm not talking about it. I got kind of tired of it last year, to be honest. And the reason I got kind of tired of it was because it was one of those things on YouTube, and there's a whole collection of them, including having a guardian dog and what kind of fencing you use, and, well, many other ones that just aren't that important in the big scheme of things as a farmer. A patient is recovering from eye surgery, and the surgeon comes in to give him the good news and the bad news. He says to the patient, "Do you want the good news or the bad news first?" So the patient says, "I want the good news first." And the doctor says, "You're going to be getting a new dog soon."
Why don't we have a dog?
I don't know. Alrighty, on to the next job. What? You're supposed to start. Oh my gosh. We gotta go hook up this here trailer. Should swing. Yeah. Alrighty then. We're gonna go right in here and take care of these trees. There's a reason you normally cut wood in cold weather. Most of this stuff back here is black walnut. We got lots of it. The cows came through the rub. Last tree. That's it. All done. We'll have to unload this wagon and then take the empty wagon, get some of the larger brush, and take it down the woods. I never burn brush. I always let it rot in the woods because I think rot is greater than burn. You think we got enough wood for this winter?
Oh gosh, yes.
This time we're cutting wood into 2025 maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be ahead
Yeah.
and to get this out of the way.
Not fun to do in summer.
No. It's time to do afternoon chores. These hens keep thinking we're bringing them snacks. A friend of mine gave me a huge tray full of smashed potatoes and a huge tray full of green beans mixed with bacon from a fire hall dinner, and I fed it to them yesterday. Ever since then, they think he's bringing goodies out. Now they're just kind of bummed about the whole situation. All they're going to get is boring chicken feed and grass. Oh, we got an escapee. Come on, lady. Back under. There you go. Somebody asked about grit. The hens need grit, you know, to go in their crop to grind up food. We don't feed grit. It comes from the ground. There's lots of grit for them down there. They select what they want and they eat it. And somebody else asked about oyster shells or calcium in the feed for the eggshells because the hens need a lot of calcium to make eggshells. Our feed contains a special mix for laying hens. It's got lots of calcium in it, so we don't supplement with any oyster shells or anything like that. Hillary's over there getting their feed for the afternoon. They know what's going on. They're all waiting. Hello, broilers. Hillary calls these big guys fatties. They'll be the fresh chicken that shows up at the farmer's market this Saturday. Oh, you ladies have been busy. especially you. You look a little broody. You're flat.
Yeah, we have a couple birdies.
Huh.
Oh, they keep breaking.
Ham smash, egg smasher. That's just one of the deals. Well, they get recycled. The hens eat them.
There you go.
They'll go through phases once in a while where eggs will get smashed and then they'll stop, and it's just one of those things. It doesn't need a solution. It's just a phase they go through once in a while. Chetra's broody. Now for the broody barred rock.
Look at all those.
Oh my gosh, she's got a real clutch.
I'm taking them.
At least she's not growling at you.
She is displeased.
There's a rooster. There's a rooster. And there's a rooster. We have 3 roosters with the flock, and we keep roosters with the flock as alarms. They're living alarms. When a predator is about, especially a hawk up in the sky, the roosters sound the alarm and the hens all head inside or under the wagon. Now, I think there's some misconceptions about keeping roosters with laying hens, that they cause blood spots in the eggs when the eggs are fertilized. That's not true. A blood spot has nothing to do with fertilization. A blood spot is just a blip in the hen's oviduct. It just happens once in a while. It's nothing to be concerned about. The egg is perfectly fine. It just has a little blood spot in it. Second thing is, there's nothing wrong with eating fertilized eggs. They're put in the refrigerator the evening that they're laid, and there's no embryo development or anything like that. Otherwise, that would be pretty yucky. At least in the U.S., we don't like eating partially developed embryos.
No.
Pepperoni definitely thinks he's necessary.
Even though he's pretty loud.
He just wanders around and harasses the hens and makes a lot of noise.
Alright, I'm coming in.
Now the field's done and it's time to take care of the pullets.
Oh, you guys look like you got plenty of food.
These are pullets, young hens that haven't started laying yet. We started them as day-old chicks back in the spring. They'll start laying probably October, November. And the deal with chickens with us, with laying hens, is that we keep 5 standard breeds, and we keep them from day-old chicks to 2.5 years old when they start really entering the steep decline in egg production. And then they go off for stew hens. We sell them as stew hens. And the way we keep track, this is a really easy way. You don't need to use leg bands or anything else. Do it by breed. So we keep 5 standard breeds. This year we have white Australorps and Rhode Island Reds growing out in here. And 2 years from now, we'll know that these guys are the ones that are going for stew hens. And we just alternate breeds every year, so we can always keep track of the age of our laying hens. They are big-time fraidy cats when they're this young. They run from everything. And here comes Hillary with their water. They got enough feed. We don't need to mess with that. Somebody should really trim that bush.
Hey guys.
Just one batch in the brooder right now. Cornish cross meat birds. These are young guys. How old are they, Hill?
They are not quite a week.
They're still in the skedaddle mode. Run like crazy. Hey, little ones. Hillary's going to finish up the poultry, and I'm going to head over to take care of the pigs. You look peaceful, Titus, as usual. Chewing on a chunk of hay. You guys certainly ain't starving to death, but here's some more hay for you. Now we're getting low on feed here. JJ, you're still huge, and you're snoozing. Well, I'll just leave this right here for you for when you wake up. No. You woke up? Hey, bud. Have some dinner. Hillary's going to water them for me this afternoon since I helped her with poultry. Hey, Billy. We gotta put some in here for Brownie. Some on the floor for Billy. He likes to eat off the floor. There you go, bud. How about that? Yeah, you always wait for that. You wait for the back scratch. Brownie says, well, I'm just going to snooze for a while here, I think. Bossy Pig has a tendency to play with her dish. It's over there in the corner.
All right, come in, honey. How are you?
What's happening, Gray?
Being held captive by Ezra.
We know who the real boss is. Hey, look, where are you going? Don't run away from me. They're just playing games with me. They always come back. There you go. Go blow some bubbles. Finally out to see the cattle. But there's none to be seen out here. That's okay, they're down eating. You just make sure that their water's all right, that the float valve's working, and that'll do it for chores. But wait, there's one other thing I gotta show you. No, not the bush by the door. No, not my cluttered shop. It's right in here, right in the garage, become farm store. We got beef this morning, our first beef of the year, and tons of ground beef, lots of steaks. This is the completion of the cycle. This is what our farmer is all about, bringing this stuff to market. This is a rib steak, really nice marbling. This is a porterhouse steak, so it's got a T-bone in it. This is loin, New York strip steak, and this is tenderloin, which also would be called filet mignon, but we leave it bone in. We leave all of our cuts bone in. This is a T-bone steak, which is the same as a porterhouse. It just has a loin side and then less of a tenderloin side. And this is a bone-in sirloin steak. Really good flavor, cut thinner, cooks quicker. The rest of these steaks are 1.5 inches thick. This first batch of beef for 2023 represents something very important for our farm. These two steers dressed at about 425 pounds. Now, in previous years, these first beef of the year that we send to butcher, around this time, July 4th, weigh about 330 pounds. That's a 100-pound increase in dress weight. That's a huge increase in a dexter. And you know why that is? We changed the way we graze. We were mob grazing for years and years and sending those beef to butcher that were dressed in 330 pounds for that first set. We switched to open field grazing 2 years ago. I started it in spring of last year. So this is the first beef that's had the full benefit of having that range of the complete salad bar, and what a difference in the weight. It's very affirming. Remember, I said at the beginning of this video, only good news today, and that was the final piece of good news. I'm so happy to have beef back because now we're fully stocked for the summer. We've got all the pork cuts, all the beef cuts, all the chicken cuts, eggs. The only thing we don't have that we grow is turkey, and turkey doesn't come until October in preparation for the Thanksgiving season. This is where it's at. This is the satisfaction of having a small commercial farm, from taking the animals that you raise from birth out in the fields to the consumer at the farmer's market. That's a complete farm in my mind, making the food and handing it to the people that will eat it. I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.